Hi, my name's Jonathan Hicks. I'm back at the Dice Cup, and this evening I'm joined by Dave.
Hey Bob. Chantal.
And we've just finished playing Santa Maria, which is a Euro essentially. Most points wins, but there's a few interesting mechanisms in here, and it all revolves around dice. So at the start of every round, you roll a pile of dice here, and then when it's your turn, you can pick one of these dice to kind of activate various spaces on your board. You see, a lot of this board is made up of tiles that I've been acquiring. And when you sort of activate one, let's say I take this 4 here, then the white dice have to go down the columns, and you kind of activate every space. Let me just remove some of the things I've previously activated. So I could activate this space here, and then activate this space here, and it kind of stops on the lowest space. So in this case, this would let me get a shipping action. There's different kinds of resources in the game. So you've got wood and wheat, sugar, gold is sort of a wild, and gems. And when you ship, you can kind of complete contracts here. So if I wanted to, I could hand in a sugar and a wood if I had them. And you're going to get points at the end of the game. It's a little difficult to see, but the little smiley faces are the points here. So you kind of complete this. And then you also add it to the appropriate space on here. And at the end of each round when you pass, this gives you stuff. So if you've got things on the money row, you're going to get coins. On this row, you advance on a couple of different tracks. I'll explain those in a second. And if you put them on the bottom row, you're getting points. So that's quite nice. As you go through the game, you're kind of building up your income that you're getting at the end of each round. But after I've done this shipping action, the dice kind of carries on going down, and I get resources. So this gets me a wood and a movement on the Conquistador track. So you can see there's various ways you're getting these kind of resources, and you add them in here. So on this spot you can see I'm getting wheat. If I activate this spot, I get money. This spot gives me gems. So depending on which dice you pick and how you decide to go down and activate it, you get in the different stuff. But the dice then stops on the last space, which means you can't activate this space again. So if I was to take another dice, one thing you can do is pay a coin. If I paid some money, I could then change this by 1 value, so I can make it 4 again, and I could do the same spot again, but I'm not going to get the benefit of this. I get to do the shipping, and then it would stop on the shipping, and you can see all the various dice I've got all over the place are blocking things because I've been activating lots of things. You can also just pay money. You pay 1 coin to activate your first space, 2 coins sort of activates the second space, so you can activate individual spaces, but it's quite a lot to think about in terms of what you're activating and where they go. You also get these blue dice, and you can see from the left the blue dice go in from the side. So the white dice from the top, the blue dice from the side. So you're getting lots of stuff. Cashing it in for contracts is one way you're going to get points, which also gets you a bit of extra income. Then there's a couple of very important tracks. You saw the little Conquistador symbol here. This Conquistador track here, you advance on the track, which is one way you can get gold every time you go past these spaces. But at the end of each round, you're getting points depending on who's the highest on the track. So for the final round here, you're getting 12 points for the person who's highest, 8 for the second, and 4 for third. So that's another way you're getting points, advancing on that track. And the third track is the prayer track. Oh, there we go, I've got a prayer symbol here. So whenever you activate the little praying hands symbol, you get to move on the prayer track. And this is how you're getting access to these blue dice. So depending on how far you move up, every time you go past a spot, you're getting another blue dice, which is effectively giving you more actions. Everyone just sort of keeps going around taking dice and using them and taking actions until everybody decides to pass when they can't do any more actions. So getting income from this track is quite important for getting extra dice, but also every time you go past one of these hooded monk type figures, you get to stick one of these monks on these things here. Now they can give you special abilities. So for example, like this one, I said you have to put your dice on the last spot. Well, with that special ability, you wouldn't have to put it on the last spot, you can put it on one of the other spots, so it gives you a bit more freedom. So there's some other special abilities here. There's some of these tiles give you endgame scoring, so this gives you points depending on how many different types of tiles you've got in a row. And also you can just get one-off things here, so maybe a bit of sugar, a couple of gems and things. But if someone else has already gone to a spot that you want to go to, you have to pay them 2 coins to go to that spot. So you kind of place it wherever you want to go, you pay your money, and then you get the stuff. So more or less that's it as you go through. Just one other thing while I think about it. What am I thinking about? At the end of the game, that's right, you're getting points according to all your resources get converted into points, and then you see all these little guys, you're getting points depending on how many full rows have got the guys in, 1 point each. The last thing, that's what I was going to mention, is you can also hand resources in, sort of wood and wheat, to buy more tiles. That's how you're getting more tiles onto your board, and obviously they're going to help you, giving you more spaces to get stuff. So on your turn, you either get more tiles, you spend dice, you get points, trying to get some of the end game scoring things. At the end, most points wins. What do we think?
Yeah, I really like it. I like how there's kind of two engines you've got going on. The shipping the contracts to get you stuff at the end of your turn. If you get a lot of those done early, then you can use that to advance. And then there's the placing of the tiles and using your dice well. The money makes it really flexible. Like if you have a lot of money, you can be really flexible where you're going to place. And it's got a lot of variability in the end game scoring tiles and the special ability tiles that you get by putting monks down, which changes the game quite a lot. Yeah, I really like it.
Okay, Abel?
Yeah, it's a good game in terms of the mechanisms and everything else. There's a lot going off, there's a lot of options, it's good for that. There's a massive amount of player interaction. The Conquistador track, you're trying to like fight on there. The Priest track, because once you go there, anyone else who goes after you has to pay you 2 coins, or 2 to every player in front of you. So you're fighting on that track. You're fighting over the tiles you can get. So there's a massive amount of interactivity. That's all the good stuff. The bad stuff is the iconography and the smallness. If you've got bad eyesight, you're going to struggle. So the interactivity is great in terms of you can see what other people are, potentially doing. But the problem is you can't see it. You can't actually. You're looking across and you're like, well, okay, are they going to go for that tile or that? You don't know. You'd have to really get close to the board, almost with a magnifying glass, to work out. That's the sort of downside. So it's okay. It's okay, but that's the bit which puts it down for me.
Chantal?
I like the engine, I like the different mechanism, I like the player interaction, as Abel has mentioned. For me, there is a definite learning curve, and it's all down not to the complexity of the game, but to the lack of coherence and the iconography, which makes it a lot counterintuitive. So, for example, you've got those roads where you have connections, and these things are not connected to those tiles, which still have some roads, but you can't go through these things, even though you definitely have those little pieces over there. And it's the case for the cities that are drawn on the board as well, where you have those little roads, but they don't go anywhere. They don't connect. Another thing which is quite puzzling is the fact that they use some color-coded symbols, as in you pay those things, and that's why they're red. You have to spend them in order to get that, and if you spend this resource, you gain that immediately as you spend it. Whereas this one, which is still green coded, is something that happens at the end of the round. You gain it, but later on. And there are some neutral things that happen later on. I can't remember where they are, like the coins that are... Yes, these ones, which are something that you gain later on, which is actually the same symbol. These ones are silver, that one is green, even though they all happen at the same time, which is the end of the round. So it's quite confusing to get my head around it, and it seems like for a game that was, released in 2017, they could do a bit better.
Rating?
My gut feeling now is a 6.5, just because of the struggle with the iconography. If I get my head around it a bit more, with the mechanism, which is really, really good, I think I could rate it better, but I need to play it more.
Okay. Abel?
Yeah, I'd actually give it a 7. It's a solid game. If the iconography was better and easier to read at a distance, it would definitely be going up to more of a 7.5, maybe even an 8. So if you've got exceptional vision, it's probably a good game for you.
Okay. Dave?
I do have quite good vision, and I rate it 8 out of 10. So yeah, I like it. I didn't really have a problem with the iconography. I did get taught it, but yeah, I think there was a couple of things I didn't realise initially that I did after a while, but yeah, it didn't bother me enough, and I think rate it an 8 out of 10.
Okay. Yeah, for a first play, I think the iconography is definitely an issue. However, once you've played through it once, now I feel perfectly comfortable with it. So I don't think the iconography is an ongoing issue, but it is certainly, there's a steep learning curve, as they say, just trying to get your head around, hang on, what does this mean and how does that connect to that again? The game itself, I think it's great though. I was fully immersed all the way through. I love that dice placement mechanic, thinking about some of them go across from the side, some of them are coming from the top. you've got to put your tiles in the right place to make maximum use of them. And particularly when the dice are blocking them, and with a special ability that means you can block different ones, I was constantly thinking, oh, I could do it this way, maybe I could do it that way. There's loads of different options, so it really gives you lots to think about. And again, as Abon was saying, it's very interactive. You really have to pay attention to what other people are doing, which is great. A lot of Euros can be very sort of multiplayer solitaire, as it were, but this one's not, and I really like that. I think it's great, but it's not too harsh. It's not like take that, it's just you're racing for things. It's like, oh, I can see he's going for that, can I beat him to it? Oh, I'm not sure. So I had a great time. I'd give it an 8 out of 10. All right, thanks for watching. That was Santa Maria.